Let's go ahead and do another example. And these guys do get a little hairy at the end, but it's an understanding of what we're doing, which makes it simple though. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and find all the solutions to sine of 6x plus sine of 2x within the interval 0 to 2 pi. All right, so the first thing I want to do is let's rewrite our sum as a product. And the reason why I need to do that is if this is a product, then I can set each factor equal to 0. That's just one of our algebraic properties there. All right, so let's go ahead and just plug this straight into the formula. So I would get 2 sine of 6x plus 2x all over 2. And that's times the cosine of 6x minus 2x all over 2, and that equals 0. Let's simplify each of these guys. 2 sine 8x over 2 again is 4x, and cosine 6x, I get 4x over 2, which is 2x equals 0. Let's say each factor equal to 0, so I get 2 sine of 4x equals 0, and I'll come way over here, cosine of 2x equals 0. Divide by 2, and I still get it equivalent to 0. All right, so the way that, again, we want to think about this is we want to say the sine of what is 0. Okay, well, the sine of 0 is 0, so that means I'm going to set 4x equal to 0. And the sine of pi is 0, so I'm going to set 4x equal to pi. Okay, if we solve for those two, I'll get 0, and right here I'll get pi over 4. Now again, if you remember what we did from last example, this is when we want to ask ourselves, what is the period of this? Okay, we want to know what is the period. And that's going to tell us what to keep adding to all of our values to get all the solutions. Well, our period is 2 pi over b. And our b, again, from just like last example, is 4. So 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. So that means I have to keep adding pi over 2 to each of these until I've reached or passed 2 pi. So let's start with my 0. So if 0 is a solution, if I add pi over 2, I'll get pi over 2. Then if I add pi over 2 to that, I'll get pi. If I add pi over 2 to that, I get 3 pi over 2. And if I add pi over 2 to this, I'll get 2 pi, which is not included in our interval. That's why we have a parentheses there. Okay, now if we have pi over 4, let's add pi over 2, which I get 3 pi over 4. If I add pi over 3, sorry, if I have 3 pi over 4, add pi over 2 to that, I'll get 5 pi over 4. And we can add another period and get 7 pi over 4. Okay? Now let's come over here to 0. Cosine of 2x equals 0. So cosine of what is 0? Well, that's going to be at the value, 2x equals at pi over 2 and at 3 pi over 2, right? So we get 2x equals 3 pi over 2. So if I divide by 2 there, I get one of my values, which is at pi over 4. And if I divide by 2 here, I'll get 3 pi over 4. So watch this. Pi over 4 we already have right here, you see. They're the same. And so that means I don't need to write that one again because, I'm just going to take pi over 4 and I'm going to keep adding pi over 2 and get all these values. So really I'm just going to exclude that because it's already in here. But 3 pi over 4, actually, no, wait, 3 pi over 4 is already in there as well, right? It's already part of our solution bank already. So really this was kind of obsolete. We don't need that. And again, we get these 8 solutions as all of them.